how is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about a new mock draft that just dropped by Kevin O'Connor, their main draft analyst over at Yahoo Sports. He has some trades in this mock draft as well, so I'm excited to break this down, see what I agree with or disagree with, because I do feel like Kevin O'Connor, when he was at the Ringer, now at Yahoo, definitely goes away from the grain and doesn't make the most chalkiest picks in the world. So I'm really excited to see if he has any maybe takes or draft spots that I haven't really thought of before. All right, so let's get into this. Number one overall, Kevin O'Connor, for you guys on audio, has Knueppel number one overall to the Dallas Mavericks. No, I'm just kidding. He has Cooper Flagg going number one to the Dallas Mavericks. He also gives some comparisons as well. And it's not one-to-one comps. It's just like shades of, remind you a little bit. And he has Scottie Pippen and Andre Kirilenko for Cooper Flagg. Kirilenko comp has been running strong, man. That was a thing for Cooper Flagg like 2 years ago. Scottie Pippen, I think, kind of came up a little bit towards the end of the Montverde days and beginning at Duke. You heard a little bit more of Kawhi Leonard at Duke as well, which I don't hate, but I just don't think Cooper Flagg, it's funny because Kawhi has like one of the tightest handles in the league for somebody at his size. And maybe the one, like, very few weaknesses of Cooper Flagg's game is the ball handle right now. But, I mean, he's going to be an incredible NBA player. I'm really excited to see him next year. And, yeah, he's going number one overall. There's no debate about that. So he does not have a trade at number two. Wonder if he was going to have, like, a Giannis thing in there. But, no, it's still Harper going number two to the Spurs. I mean, he's got comps as Darren Williams and Cade Cunningham. Haven't really thought about Darren Williams. I'd compared him to Jalen Brunson a little bit and James Harden. I think some popular comps for Harper, but I've liked the Cade Cunningham one for a while. And I'm just intrigued to watch Dylan Harper in San Antonio because I don't think it fits like super well on paper. It's going to take some time for Harper, who played as like the main ball handler, the guy igniting that Rutgers offense last year, was the main engine and catalyst of everything going on over there, to now more of a secondary role here in San Antonio. Like, there's a good chance he's playing out there with Stephon Castle or De'Aaron Fox a lot. And what about if they get Kevin Durant? I'm recording this before a KD trade, so if he already got traded to San Antonio, just think about that as well. Like, if Kevin Durant is on San Antonio, how is Dylan Harper going to be as an off-ball player, which we saw him be effective at times at Rutgers, and I think playing with Ace Bailey helped because Ace Bailey was a ball-dominant guy, and you just want to see how Harper can kind of move without the ball. Will he come off screens? Will he run baseline? Will he cut, slash, do whatever he can to get open in the offensive half court when he's not dominating the ball? So I'm excited to watch Dylan Harper in San Antonio. I think this is what they should do. I wouldn't hate dangling Dylan Harper in a Giannis trade if you could pull that off, but it does feel like Giannis is staying in Milwaukee. And unless, I mean, there's very few players that I think are worth Dylan Harper in a package. Say Phoenix was like, we'll do Devin Booker for Dylan Harper. Maybe you think about that. If Cleveland was like, we'll do Donovan Mitchell for Dylan Harper, maybe you think about some of those. But like guys that are actually available, Giannis, yes. I don't even think I'm trading Dylan Harper for Jaylen Brown right now for what San Antonio is. So like I said, I'm recording this before a KD trade. I think a KD trade makes sense if you're giving up, like, maybe Vassell is the best asset. If you could somehow keep Vassell and you could do Sohan, Keldon Johnson, and like Harrison Barnes, all for that as well. So here we go. We have our first mock trade here. It's the Pelicans trading up to number 3. I mean, this is a great, I think, I don't know. I don't view Ace Bailey in that light to trade away Herb Jones, but the Pelicans are sending the 7th pick, 2026 Pacers top 4 protected first round pick from the Brandon Ingram trade, and Herb Jones to Philadelphia for the 3rd pick, and Kelly Oubre. So we'll see if Kelly Oubre is going to pick up that player option. I think there's a good chance that he will. I just don't know if it's worth it for Ace Bailey, because like Ace Bailey, Zion Williamson, how does that really fit? And Trey Murphy over there in New Orleans, is Ace Bailey going to be okay being a secondary guy out of the gate and throughout his career, which may be for the best? It's just like, I don't know. If he's not knocking down threes, he's going to want to live in the mid-range, which I feel like is kind of redundant from what Brandon Ingram was with Zion Williamson, and you're definitely not getting the playmaking out of Ace Bailey that Brandon Ingram was, at least at the end of the 2023 season, and definitely not right away, maybe in his career. He comped him to Rudy Gay and Michael Porter Jr. It's funny because Ace Bailey reminds me a little bit of Brandon Ingram coming out of Duke, and I don't think they're far apart with like their passing ability. I think Brandon Ingram was a little bit more okay and passive out there because he was playing with better guys in Duke in 2016 than Ace Bailey was in 2025. I don't love this. I don't love trading Herb Jones, who his value probably took a hit this year because he only played 20 or so games, but he was just on all defensive first team a year ago. And these guys do not grow on trees. He's under a great contract. Yeah, you're going to have to extend him soon. And maybe you don't feel comfortable about giving him over $20 million a year. Like, it's going to be I don't know. Lou Dort ended up making like 17 million on his extension. Can you get him around that range? But with the salary cap going up, Herb Jones may get $25 million a year because he may not get OG and Anunoby money. He's not that good offensively, but he may be like, you know what, I'm 50% of OG offensively, and I'm basically as good of a defender as OG. And OG got like $40+ million a year, so Herb may ask for 30. I don't know. I mean, this makes Philly in a great spot. Like, we'll see who he has them taking at number 7. But if, well, Knueppel goes 4, but yeah, if Con fell, Trey Johnson fell, I wouldn't take, I mean, you could take Maluach, and you're getting Herb, Maluach, a future first-round pick next year. I mean, I love that for Philadelphia because I don't really know how I feel about Ace in Philly. I wonder if Philly can, like, move back up. Like, can we get Trey Johnson or Knueppel and Herb Jones? That's a home run of a draft. So, number 4 here, Charlotte. They are going to take Knueppel. I love Knueppel in this class, man. He was a joy to watch at Duke. Very, very little mistakes he has made at Duke this past season. He plays very smart, incredible IQ, incredibly well downhill, playing off of 2 feet, getting guys to bite on pump fakes, finding the extra man, not forcing shots, moving without the ball in his hands. He's never standing in the same spot. I loved watching Con this past year. He's not the quickest guy in the world, but he's very strong. He's 6'5", so I think perfect fit as a shooting guard, or at least a 2. I don't think he could be one of your bigger wings out there on the floor. Now, in Charlotte, he's in between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. Like, that's a good spot for him. I wonder if, like, the way that they play in Charlotte, if they want to go run and gun with athleticism, I think Edgecombe makes a little bit more sense. I love Con in this class, but I also want to see Con on, like, a good team next year. That's why I'd love to see him in Philly. I would love to see him, I mean, Toronto, Houston, I don't know if he makes it that far. Even New Orleans, because I think New Orleans is going to be better than Charlotte next year. And that's one of my favorite fits in the draft, because I believe you guys saw the draft talk episode with Muhammad already that I mentioned on, because, yeah, you guys, I think, are going to see this on Sunday. That came out on Saturday. And I mentioned I mentioned Con to New Orleans at 7 was one of my favorite fits in the draft. So number 5, we have VJ Edgecombe. I think Trey Johnson makes a little bit more sense for them. Now, I think, actually, I don't know. I haven't really thought about Edgecombe at 5 because I feel like there's a better chance he's off the board than Trey Johnson is at 5, and both are on the board in this mock, which is, I mean, I think a home run for Utah because Con goes 4. He comps him to Victor Oladipo, which I like. Christian Brown, interesting there. But Edgecombe's athleticism is off the charts. I think he can hold his own defensively, and it's only going to get better and better. He was the best player on Wu High out of New York in high school in his senior year, and pretty much did all he could on, like, maybe not the deepest Wu High team in the world when you're talking in terms of high school basketball. And he goes to Baylor. I think was getting extremely, like, I don't know. He was asked to do a lot out of the gate, and I was a little bit worried about Edgecombe forcing shots, not looking comfortable out there. And I think that was a little bit of what happened to start this past year at Baylor, but really got more comfortable at the end of the year. I think you saw a little bit more of somebody that was comfortable creating his own shot, maybe putting a little bit more step back, dribble moves into his game, and being more aggressive downhill, which he could poster anybody in this game. If he was like an inch or 2 taller, he'd probably go consensus number 3, but he's a little bit smaller than people would probably like in the NBA role. Next up at number 6, we have Trey Johnson going to DC. If he's on the board, yes, Trey Johnson is ranked a lot higher for me than like Jeremiah Fears. I think like Kaman Maluach is interesting here as well. But no, Trey Johnson, I think, is the 3rd best player, or no, I have him ranked 4th in this class. Just somebody like Knueppel is never standing in the same spot, moves extremely well without the ball in his hands. And I think unlike Con, can be the catalyst of an offense one day, can be that engine going forward. He's going to make a little bit more mistakes, maybe take a couple more bad shots a game than Con will. But man, is he one of the best shooters in this class. I think it's like Con 1A, Trey Johnson 1B. He was an elite mid-range shooter in high school and was like the number 1 guy at Texas. Con got to play with Cooper Flagg, Proctor, a lot of good guys. And he was probably the 2nd best player at Duke last year. But Trey Johnson like was the guy at Texas this past season. He comps him to Thiero and Ray Allen. It's just you're getting like an elite shooter, an elite off-ball mover. I don't know how him and like Bub Carrington work together. I think both those guys excel off ball, but hey, you can have them out there with Jordan Poole, who's an all right passer. Maybe they get a veteran point guard this offseason, and like Bub is just like in a great 6-man role, and you can have, or hey, you can even run Bilal at the 4 at times, Sar at the 5, have Trey Johnson out there with Bub Carrington, because Trey can definitely play the 3, but physical or stronger wings will probably have their way with him just early in his career. So Philadelphia takes Kaman Maluach in this mock at number 7. I think if Trey Johnson, Knueppel, those guys are off the board, this is my pick for Philadelphia at 7. If they wanted to go also upside like Kaman, they could think about Carter Bryant. I know it's a little high at 7, but I like Carter Bryant to Philly more than I like Jeremiah Fears or who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Jakučionis. I also like Kaman more than Derek Queen. I think they need to invest into the big man position just to have guys around Joel Embiid. You can maybe run some double big man lineups as well out there because Embiid can space the floor. And now you have two giants out there. And I know Kaman has a lot of work to do in his game, but he can be a pretty good rim protector right away. He's going to have to be more physical out there. Guys like, you know, it's funny, like he's not a bad rebounder, but if he runs into like the Josh Harts of the world, the Lou Dorts of the world, that guys are just jumping all over the place for rebounds, he's going to get out rebounded in terms of hustle. Now he's got length and a couple inches on a lot of guys in the NBA, but I think that's going to be something he's going to have to work on. But I don't hate the idea of Philadelphia adding Herb Jones, a future first, and getting a really good backup big man, I think right now, and for the long term, maybe your starting center when Embiid is no longer in his prime in Philadelphia. Given Kaman is still just 18 years old. I think this is a perfect fit for Brooklyn here at number 8, Jeremiah Fears. I think he's also a developmental point guard in this league. And like a lot of prospects, if the shot does not develop, it's going to be hard to have Fears as like a main offensive engine for your team. But like Trey Johnson, he was on a not sexy Oklahoma team. He was asked to do a ton. And he could be a really good playmaking point guard one day. I think it's going to take some time. He may struggle at the rim to start off because he wasn't great at the rim last year at Oklahoma. And we've seen rookie guards like Fox and Garland in the past not be great in that aspect and turn the ball over a lot in their rookie years. But I think Brooklyn, they're okay being bad next year. Jordi Fernandez will get the most out of Fears, and he becomes by far the best young asset on this team. He skyrockets over Tariq Whitehead if he's even on the team next year. Skyrockets over Noah Clowney. I mean, Cam Thomas, I guess you could say, is maybe the best young asset they have. But, I mean, Jeremiah Fears could be the most intriguing one going forward. Carter Bryant at 9. All right. This is one of my favorite fits in the draft as well. On the pod yesterday, I did have this as a fit that I love. I think, like, if this is how the board falls, I like Carter Bryant the most here at 9. I like him more than Derek Queen in this draft. And also I like him more to Toronto because I think he could be out there with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes and one of Quickly or Barrett because Scotty gives you so much flexibility, which I think you have to appreciate, that he could be a point guard. And now you're not playing Scotty in that 4 role. And now you have Carter Bryant in that 4 role, who's extremely athletic, very strong. He's still young and kind of feeling out what he is at the NBA level, but he's a phenomenal spot-up shooter, was in that role at Arizona, so he can translate exactly to that role in Toronto with Scotty getting downhill and he can kick it out to the corner. Brandon Ingram working his mid-range isolation. Maybe there's a double, kicks it out to Carter Bryant, and he's also can fly on the glass, and he's a solid defender right away. I see the vision in Carter Bryant. I would take him here at number 9 if this is how the draft fell for Toronto. I don't hate Jakučionis, who is going number 10 to Houston. I'm higher on him than I think the consensus is as well. Kasparis is somebody that can play the 1, but I think could play the 2. I buy the shot. Good free throw shooter. Was a really good 3-point shooter throughout the first 3 quarters last year at Illinois. It struggled. He didn't have the greatest end to the year. I know there's a lot of turnovers. I think in Houston, that could be a really good spot for him. Him running DHOs with Alper and Şengün, I think there could be a fun 2-man offense with him and Reed Sheppard because he has the size to complement Reed Sheppard, who I don't think is ever going to be like a true 1 at the NBA level, a true initiating point guard. I think Reed can benefit playing off ball, but has to guard the smallest guy defensively. So I like that fit a lot. I like it probably the best here at 10. Maybe I would take a flyer on Noah Essengue at 10 as well. But I like Kasparis more than Derek Queen in this draft. So yeah, the way that this draft has fallen, I like that. I disagree. 11 here, Liam McNeeley to the Blazers. I could see what they need here in just shooting. And Liam McNeeley did not end the season strongly like Jakučionis, but he did get injured back in January. And maybe it's just kind of caught up to him. And the shots weren't falling. Maybe he lost a little bit of confidence. Portland, not a bright light state or city. It's not like he's going to a New York media market or one of the top ones where he's going to have a ton of pressure. He can have a chance to grow and develop over there. And I think he does have some defensive upside as well because he's got good size and he's pretty quick laterally as well. Now, yeah, you can play him off of Scoot Henderson. You can play him off of some of these ball-dominant guys over there in Portland. I just think it's a little high. I wonder if they would think about trading down. So you have to say, like, how is this draft going that you would like or you would want someone to take here? Who he has number 12. I like Jace Richardson a little bit more. I'd kind of flip-flop these picks. So he has 11 McNeeley to Portland and 12 Jace Richardson to Chicago. Yeah, I think I like that swapped a little bit more. But I also like, I think, just Jace over... Well, I have Jace ranked over McNeeley in this class. I'll get to Jace in a second. But I think if Jace went 11, Derek Queen definitely 12 if he's on the board. So yeah, I think I would take Jace at number 11. You're not taking Ben Seraph here. Diego Demin, I never really liked that. Clifford, Cedric Coward, like that archetype, or Sheer Fleming, maybe it's a little high at number 11. But if you're going to look for some big man depth, I think I can also buy into Derek Queen in Portland, because I think offensively he could play next to Klingon, and Klingon can help him out defensively right away. And you can have like Queen play kind of a backup 5, but eventually he's going to be, you could play next to Klingon, like I said, and Klingon isn't like the most iron, like he's not like an Iron Man out there, so it's nice to invest long term into the backup 5 spot. So number 12, we have Jace Richardson going to Chicago. I'm not really a big fan of this fit. I love Jace Richardson in this class, but with Derek Queen, Thomas Sorber on the board, I would prioritize that in Chicago. Also Noah Essengue, who I could have mentioned at 11 to Portland. That could make some sense. He's like 6'10 without shoes. But yeah, number 12, Jace Richardson, Chicago. I just don't know if they need another guard. Now, if they're moving Kobe White, if they're moving Sumu, sure, then I could maybe buy this a little bit more. But I just don't want him to be deep on the bench, especially if they bring back Trey Jones and Josh Giddey. And it's just like, is Jace going to have any playing time out there where he's going to have to be the point guard defensively? And I think he could be a shooting guard offensively. He finishes very well at the rim. I think he's a very safe shooter. Great competitive motor, and we saw that at Michigan State. Tom Izzo would not trust him that much last year if he didn't have the competitive motor. He did. It's just, will he be, I think, an extreme liability defensively? And will he be just an elite enough shooter where you can play him late in games? Because I like him where he can go to like Orlando, have a good defensive guard next to him, or maybe Portland where he's playing next to Toumani Kamara, or Houston where he's playing next to Amen Thompson. I don't love him in Chicago where he doesn't have great defenders, or Miami where it's like, all right, if he's going to play late in games, he's playing out there with Tyler Hero, and that's like as bad of a defensive backcourt as you can get. If Jace, but like Jace, he's smart enough, he knows his limitations, and I think that plays well. Derek Queen going to Atlanta at 13. I would be very shocked if he made it past Chicago, but I'm like a little bit lower on Derek Queen than the consensus. I think if there was like a surprising fall in this draft, it could be Queen. He's very intriguing offensively, especially if he develops a shot and you could buy into that. And if he gets a little bit more in shape, like this man is already quick enough where he said he's a 7 out of 10 in terms of the shape he wants to be in. He's very crafty. He's got a fun offensive game to him, and we saw that this past year at Maryland. Can get downhill, can set good screens, can work out of the post. It's just really, can he develop a shot? Atlanta, I think, is a team that's looking for a big man. I feel like Thomas Sorber could make a little bit more sense. These rangy, athletic, movable guys is what they're building defensively. But hey, they have a new front office now, so maybe that's the old motto with Landry Fields and not the new motto. Cedric Coward going to the Spurs at 14. I like this. I think Essengue on the board could also make a lot of sense to Atlanta and San Antonio. Coward's like an extreme wild card in this draft, and that's what apparently a lot of people are saying, like coming, like analysts and or reporters and journalists that are talking to scouts, as that like Cedric Coward, man, the 6-game sample size this year is helping his draft stock because he was so good in those 6 games, not against the best competition in the world when he was at Washington State, but last year at Eastern Washington, he had some good games against good competition. He's got great hand size, really physical, great story coming up from D3, plays with that motor that like he has nothing to lose at that point. And now he's worked himself up to potentially being, and most likely, a first-round pick in this draft. I love him in San Antonio. He compares him to Kawhi, similar size and frame, and you could say the way he moves like that, but if he's going to be an elite shooter at his position and a good defender that can guard 1 through 4 or 2 through 5, bang, that's a great pick at 14. If they didn't want to go like the upside swing, like I love this for OKC at 15. I think there's a lot of good fits for them at 15. I think Danny Wolf is fun offensively, but Noah Essengue, taking a chance on him, I love. I think Essengue could be a guy that's spending time in the G League next year, but measuring in at 6'10", at 18, he's the second youngest guy in this class, I believe, behind Cooper Flagg. He could end up being 7 foot in shoes one day, which would be mind-blowing the way he moves. And extremely young, great defender right now at Rock Hill Farm. I think there's going to be some lapses at the NBA level, but I think he could be an impactful defender right away. It's really like, can he develop a shot? And can he be comfortable enough with the ball in his hands? Because if so, this is a guy that could be a top 5 player in this class. But if not, I don't know if this is going to be Ousmane Dieng 2.0 if we're talking about this to OKC. But he's somebody that looked a lot better and comfortable towards the end of the BBL season over there in Germany, which there's a chance if they're playing in the championship game, it's going to be like on draft night. So he may not even be at the draft, which would be kind of crazy. But OKC's a good spot. They have everybody under contract. He could spend some time in the G League next year and can go to a winning environment. That's not a semi-good development track record, right? So Orlando getting Clifford at 16. I mean, with Jace Richardson off the board, I could see the vision in this. McNeeley's off the board as well. Walter Clayton at 16 feels high. I'm a big Clifford fan. Great rebounder, good shooter, knows how to play right away, I think, in his role. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different going from like the main guy at Colorado State to now being a glue guy at the NBA level. But I think that's the way he's built up his career, playing at University of Colorado, then going to Colorado State. I thought the shot selection got so much better throughout the course of Mountain West play this year, and he can run the floor. And I think Orlando could play with more pace. They need more shooting. That can be Clifford, and I think he's fits that defensive mold that Orlando has built over the last few years. 17, Minnesota going to Newell. Okay, so he is Newell ahead of Thomas Sorber. I think... Yeah, we'll get to who's going 18, which I could have mentioned for a bunch of teams earlier. I forgot about him for a second. But Newell, I think, is like a forgotten guy in this class. Like kind of a tweener position. Maybe not the best defender in the world. Not a great playmaking guy out of the post. But I think, honestly, he's just extremely well skilled inside. He mentions Brandon Clark as a comp. I love that. I think Newell plays very smart. He comes from that Montverde lineage with Flagg, Derek Queen, and Lee McNeeley. And I think he's just a guy that can rim run, can rim protect eventually in the NBA as he gets older and more polished. And I think he gets like great screens for Anthony Edwards. If they trade Gobert for Kevin Durant, like I said, you guys, I don't know if Kevin Durant's going to be traded by the time you guys see this. I tweeted that Bradley Beal got traded on Father's Day a couple years ago. Because I remember I had family over that day. And I was like, I remember, why did it have to be this day? Like I now had to like make like a 20-minute video about it and like leave the party to go back. And I was like, it was a holiday, right? Or like a day, like an event day. And yeah, it was Father's Day in 23, so it'd be funny if KD got traded on Father's Day in 25. So 18, Connor Murray-Boyles to Washington. I could have mentioned him for a couple teams earlier. San Antonio, Atlanta, Chicago, even Portland, even Houston, right? Like I kind of forgot about Murray-Boyles. So he has Trey Johnson going at 6 and Connor Murray-Boyles going at 18. That's a fun draft for Washington for sure. Murray-Boyles is one of the best defenders right away. He's got really good passing and court vision for somebody at his size. It's just, if he's not going to be a shooter, what is his position out there? It's the tweener spot, right? Like too small to be a center, not a great enough shooter to be a wing, not quick enough to be a wing as well. But man, he's going to be a fun defender out of the gate. Definitely, like he's 19. Like at least that's what their draft age says. Like that's the same age as Newell and some of these guys that are freshmen. He's younger than Derek Queen. Derek Queen's 20. Wow. Maybe that's 20 on draft night. He probably mentions it earlier. Does he mention it? Not in here, but yeah, I feel like 20. Wow. Okay. So yeah, Connor Murray-Boyles, another year of college play and is younger. So Demin going to the Nets at number 19. I kind of hate this with them getting Jeremiah Fears at 8. If they got come on at 8, then I would like this, but I just don't want like another point guard here at 19, another high upside swing guy as well. Now, yeah, Demin could be more of a wing. He mentions Anthony Black, which I've mentioned here on the pod before, because he's got good size. Is he going to be a 1 or like a wing hybrid? We'll see. I think it's nice to see him go develop under Jordi Fernandez's system. But like, can he play out there with Jeremiah Fears? Will one of them be more of an off-ball player? Not really sure. Nolan Traoré going to the Heat at number 20. I like this fit. I do. I just don't think Miami's going to take somebody like Traoré. I mean, they did take Nikola Jovic back in 2020. What was that, 2? But I just feel like Pat Riley may take like Walter Clayton Jr. here. Or Andy. Is Andy Ellsberg still there? Who's ever the main decision maker? Traoré, excuse me. Man, he can run fast. He can play with pace, and I think Miami could use a change of pace as well, because they play a little bit slower than some other teams. Traoré can get that ball, get off and running. Great court vision, can navigate ball screens. He would have 2 great screen setters out of the gate in Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo, which would be great for his development. Another guy that if he can't shoot, it's going to be tough for him to stay on the floor. Utah getting Thomas Sorber at 21. I mean, that's pretty good value. I don't know if I love Sorber to Utah. Like, you got Filipowski, Markkanen, Hendricks, Walker Kessler, a ton of bigs over there. They ended up taking Edgecombe, and I think we're taking great athletes in this draft, which I think Utah can use a little bit more athleticism. It's just like Sorber's never going to play with Walker Kessler at the same time, unless Sorber, who did showcase some floor spacing ability this past year at Georgetown, develops the shot, but I think you're taking a high upside swing here because he honestly is not a bad passer either, but we just got to know about that foot injury long term. Drake Powell to the Hawks at 22. I kind of hate this. I think this is kind of high for Drake Powell. I do think he's a project, and I doubt the 22nd pick, depending on who it is going to play that much for the Atlanta Hawks. Earlier, they take Derek Queen. I like the idea, though. I like these 3-and-D wings that can guard multiple positions, and you hope that Powell can be a good enough three-point shooter out of the gate. He did little to no offensive creation at UNC. He comps him to Mikal Bridges. I think Isaac Okoro could make a little bit more sense. He's definitely not going to be the offensive creator as Mikal Bridges was. Like, he definitely wasn't at Villanova. Like, Drake wasn't the guy that Mikal was creatively at Villanova. He's a good defender. He's got long arms. That's probably why he's comping him to Mikal Bridges. I think he's more of like a stand-in-the-corner guy at the NBA level, similar to what he was at UNC. Maxime Raynaud to the Pacers at 23. They need a big man. I don't mind Raynaud over Danny Wolf. I think there's a chance that he's a better shooter at the NBA level. I would probably bet on that he's a better shooter in the NBA level than Danny Wolf. I don't think either one of them is a great defender. So I kind of do like Raynaud more than Danny Wolf. I think Wolf is a better passer and can kind of run the offense as like a hub, and he can kind of work as a ball handler off of screens and setting screens. I think Raynaud is more of like a post-up guy, but also could take spot-up looks. But hey, the Pacers need a center. Sorber's off the board. I like Raynaud more than Beringer in this class. I mean, another high upside swing for OKC here at 24. I think Will Riley can go as high as 16 to Orlando. He falls to 24. I think one of the more intriguing guys in this class. But OKC could be a good development spot for him because he's not going to play next year if he got drafted by the Thunder. So it'd be nice for him to spend some time in the G League, but could definitely end up being one of the best players in this class. Rasheer Fleming, 25. That was somebody I think could have went like 22 to Atlanta. I think Miami's getting great value. They kind of need point guard play, passing play in this draft, and they end up getting Fleming and Clifford, like two wings that are good shooters, good defenders out of the gate. I don't know if they want more 3-and-D wings. Kind of went that mold with De Silva last year. I don't really see the comp to Brandon Bass. I feel like they play different, but I also don't remember Brandon Bass at college. And then, yeah, I think Fleming could be even like a small ball 5 at times. He's got the standing reach. He's got the wingspan. It's just going to have to get stronger. Okay, so the Nets went Jeremiah Fears. They went Igor Demin, Joanne Beringer, and Hugo Gonzalez. I like the idea. Okay, so yeah, Beringer at 26, Hugo Gonzalez at 27. I like the high upside plays here. Oh, but man, I think we need some grown-ups or some NBA-ready prospects in the room over there in Brooklyn. Just take one in this class. Like, I would even take Walter Clayton, but I guess you already took Fears and Demin. But yeah, Beringer, I think, is worth the flyer. I think there's a chance Sharp or Claxton isn't on this team next year. And Brooklyn is a team that isn't going to be good relying or asking him to do too much. I'm not a big fan of Hugo Gonzalez, at least in the first round. Maybe at pick 30, if like a team trades up to him to get like that 4-year team contract, I'm okay with that. But I just don't love Hugo out of the gate. I think the offensive game needs a lot of work. But hey, if he's a good shooter out of the gate, he's going to play. In Brooklyn, there could be open playing time. Like a Thiero is a lot better, and that's who I would probably think about over Hugo. But a Thiero to Boston at 28, maybe not the shooter out of Arkansas that Boston would like, but hey, they need defensive wings, especially if they move Hauser. Jason Tatum's out next year. I don't think Jaylen Brown or Derek White's going to get traded, but you never know. They're going to trade Drew Holiday. They could look for some defense, and that could be a Thiero. Ryan Kalkbrenner to the Suns at 29. Makes a ton of sense. Next best defensive big on the board. Better defender in this class than Danny Wolf and Maxime Raynaud. So I think that makes a lot of sense. A good screen setter also. And Walter Clayton going to the Clippers at 30. I mean, I love this. I'm a big fan of this. I just don't think he's going to make it to number 30. So interesting that Danny Wolf is not a first-round pick. Ben Seraph, the measurements came in for him. He's like 6'6" without shoes, which is incredible. And he also has been playing very well with Noah Essengue on Rothschild Farm in the playoffs over in Germany as well in their top flight league. So I think there's a chance Seraph is going to rise up a little bit more after I think there's been a couple people, including me, have been out on him as like a lottery top 20 pick. And I don't think he went in my first round mock draft. I forget if I don't know. I don't think he went in the one with Ryan Hammer or Pierre. 32, Boston getting Yannick Cannon, Niederhauser. I like him over Janai Broom. Danny Wolf, though, is crazy, I think, to slide this far. But I think Boston needs another big. Noah Penda to the Hornets at 33 and Danny Wolf at 34. I mean, I love Danny Wolf's value at 34 for sure. Can play out there with Mark Williams at the same time. And if they're looking for some defense, grab Noah Penda, another French power forward prospect like Salon last year. Wow. Hunter Salas, 35 to the Sixers. I like Hunter Salas. This is the highest I've seen him in any mock for sure. Good defender last year at Wake Forest. The shot wasn't great, but hey, I think he's going to be a good shooter given what he did in 2024. Alex Tui, I'm not the biggest fan of coming out of Australia, but he's been mocked a ton to the Nets at 36. Maybe the Sean Marks Australian connection. Kobe Bryant to the Pistons at 37. I think they could use more shooting, and Kobe Bryant's a top 5 shooter in this class. Markovic from Mega Basket to the Spurs at 38. Most likely this player is not going to play unless they trade a ton of depth for Kevin Durant. But I don't know if Markovic, I mean, they could use a big man. Hansen Yang I like a little bit more, who he has going 39 to the Toronto Raptors. And since they took Carter Bryant earlier, they probably could take another big man here. And I'm a big fan of Yang, unless they wanted another ball handler. 39 feels like a little bit high for Mark Sears. Javon Small, I think, could be in play here. Ryan Nembhard could be in play here. Kobe Sanders could be in play here as well. We have Jameer Watkins at pick 40 to the Wizards. I'm fine with that. They ended up getting Trey Johnson and Colin Murray-Boyles, so they get Watkins, who I think's a good enough wing to take here. Chaz Lanier to the Warriors at 41. I love this. 3-and-D guy immediately for Golden State. Cam Jones, way too low, but this is a home run pick for Sacramento, getting him at 42. Could my Knicks trade up to 42 to snag him? I would love that. Proctor to the Jazz at 43. I like that as well. Different than what he's had in this mock so far. Peyton Sandfort, I haven't really seen him in the top 40, the top 60, top 59. He has him going 44 to OKC. Yes, they need some shooting, and he's probably one of the better shooters on the board. I'm just not a big fan of Peyton Sandfort. I just don't think he's a great defender. John Tonje, I'd rather have one of the older prospects, but yeah, which I also don't love him going to Chicago. Sion James, I'm a big fan of as well. I'd rather have Sion James to OKC than like Peyton Sandfort. Reminds me a little bit of like Lou Dort, like his physical, stocky body. Ryan Nembhard to the Bucks at 47. KPJ could be gone. Damian Lillard is out for most of next year's season. He could be initiator right away. Javon Small to the Grizzlies at 48. I like that as well. Now that they have like a third string point guard, like Marcus Smart is no longer there. You have Ja, you have Scottie Pippen Jr. I like Small as a third string point guard. Elijah Martin for the national champion Florida Gators going 49 to Cleveland. There's a chance they end up moving Isaac Okoro this offseason. Martin can maybe fill that need long term. Janai Broome to the Knicks at 50. I don't really like this. I don't hate the Knicks going big, but I know Broome is the next best big, and hey, he gives you some offensive upside. I think the Knicks need wing defenders. I don't mind Bryce Williams, who goes one pick later out of Nebraska. I don't really love Eric Dixon in this class. Definitely not as a defender. I'm just trying to think like the best defenders on the board, because James is off the board, Watkins is off the board, Lanier's off the board. Maybe somebody will come to my mind. But Bryce Williams going to the Clippers at 41. I like that. Or 51, excuse me. Eric Dixon to the Suns at 52. Also like that. Eric Dixon. It would be funny if they got like Randall in a KD trade. And Dixon reminds me a lot of Randall. But man, if you want to try to find somebody that has maybe the worst shot selection in this class, like to rival Ace Bailey, it's Eric Dixon. Neoklis from Greece going to the Jazz at 53. I like that. He's like the last guy I gotta like fully dive into for this class. Wow, RJ Lewis getting drafted to the Pacers at 54. I probably should have had him in my wings and not like a point guard in this class. Like, I kind of regret that. I think there is some upside though to Lewis as a ball handler at the NBA level. Rocco Sikorsky to the Lakers at 55. Feels awkward around the rim, but he does have the body to be a rim protector, and the Lakers need that depth. Dink Pate on the board here at 56. Wouldn't mind him to the Knicks a little bit earlier. Tibbs would never play him, but maybe the next coach would. Mark Sears to the Magic 57. Hey, they got Clifford, they got Rasheer Fleming. I like Mark Sears in this spot for sure, because if he could be a good shooter, why not? I agree. Ethan Amansa, another big man to the Cavs at 58. Probably the next best big man off the board. Good touch around the rim. I like him more than Vlad Golden, who's going 59 to the Houston Rockets. So that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy me breaking down Kevin O'Connor's 2025 NBA mock draft with that one trade at the top. If you guys did enjoy on YouTube, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, really appreciate a rating and review over there to help the pod grow. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.